Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Kelly Lotz. Kelly is a motorsports woman. Of course, why wouldn't she be? Everybody loves motorsports. Oh, I guess not. You know what? We have to get everybody to love our sport, Kelly. So we're going to talk about motorsports and women and all kinds of fun stuff today. But first, would you share a little bit with me about yourself? Maybe where you live, your family, whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah, sure. Linda, I am going to be 48 years old here next month, and we live in Macedonia, Ohio, which is pretty close to Cleveland. So yes, we have cold weather like you.
Mm-hmm.
I race motocross mainly. My husband and I both race. We did have two. He has two daughters, and they both used to race. Only one, as we talked about, still races now with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
We do dabble a little bit into some flat track racing. We have done some track days on like road bikes.
Okay.
And recently, this isn't a motor, but we recently got into mountain biking. So
Okay.
it's pretty fun little add-in. I do work daily. I am actually a bus driver for our local school district here. And this is my fourth year doing that. And I also recently became an OBI, onboard instructor. So I train people to drive buses for us as well.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, that was a recent ad. They needed me to have 2 years driving in. So I added that in, and it's actually been enjoyable as well.
okay. Awesome. So you get all those little kiddos to school every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, is your route in the country, so you have to worry about weather or not?
No, not really. We're pretty much a suburban area here.
Okay.
But we have had weather. I think I've drove more in the snow this year than I have the last 4 years combined.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had, and it hasn't been one of those big, like 12-inch dumps of snow, but it's been kind of a continuous, 3 or
Yes.
4 inches, 3 or 4 inches. And then today we have sunshine in Kalamazoo. I'm just like, what the heck is that out there? Because we haven't had any sun for a while. So, but now it's going to get really cold here. So here we go.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So Kelly, we're talking about motorsports today. Tell me, how did you get interested and started in motorsports?
I believe there's like a history in my family. My dad had an uncle who raced, and his that uncle's son got into racing as well. That was mostly car racing. I don't. I My parents say when I was like 5 or 6, I wanted a three wheeler, and I eventually got one. And then with my dad having a racing background, of course, that led us getting into racing. So I did race three and four wheelers for 6 years when I was little, between 6 and 12. Kind of got out of it and went on to sports for quite a while, and then fast forward till I turned 27, decided that I wanted a dirt bike. So that was 20 years ago, and I'm still at it.
Wow. So, I watch people race dirt bikes and I think, wow, that's a good way to get hurt. Not that car racing isn't, but at least you've got the car around you. Have you ever gotten like hurt riding
I
your dirt bike?
Yes, I have. And you know what they say, with age comes a cage. But I didn't
Yeah.
get the cage yet, but I
Okay.
know what you're saying for sure. Yes, I have had some injuries. I actually uh, lost a little piece of my fingertip in a crash. It got pinched
Oh
off of
gosh.
my clutch lever.
Yeah.
And I did have an ACL tear, but I actually did not crash when I did that. Um,
Okay.
I mean, I haven't had nothing too major.
Yeah.
I broke a little piece in my thumb that caused me to have a cast.
Okay.
And then last spring, actually, I fractured my fib, but I don't know if you know much about the tib and fib, but the fib is a non-weight bearing bone.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I finished racing for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And the reason I got it checked was like sort of later in the day, caught my foot and like kind of sprained my ankle. And I was more concerned about my ankle actually. So I went got x-rays and learned that I fractured my fib.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So not, I mean, a few little scrapes and things there, but nothing
Yes.
like I was expecting to hear. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that you haven't had all that happen to
Yeah, I
you.
mean, I probably, you know, uh, the world of motocross is there's not a lot of people that make money doing it. So we truly do it for the fun of it. We love it.
Hmm.
I probably am more cautious that could cause me to have a little bit of maybe not the best results due to that, but it's
Yeah.
a little bit of give and take. I'll take it to stay a little bit healthier and
Yeah. Yeah. Because you got to keep driving those kids to school.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, when I fractured my fib, it was my right leg, and I couldn't drive for 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, do you have a home track or somewhere that you always go, or do you
Um,
travel around to different places?
we do travel around. I will say our scene here in Ohio kind of have changed a little bit. We did have a track that was an hour away. We probably have two or three ish, four-ish that were within an hour. I don't know that we necessarily call one home, but one of them we did lose, so that's kind of a bummer. Um, there's a few
Hmm.
others in our area that have kind of closed. So there's also one that does have the motocross and flat track. So we
Okay.
do frequent there for both. But we do like to try to venture around. I feel we're to the point now we like to pick and choose where we go. If there's a cool race somewhere out of state, we
Yeah.
might go there. We kind of been to all surrounding states.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when you say we, who are you talking about? Your friends? Who's racing with you?
My husband and I.
Okay.
That's it. And I must say, I totally forgot when I talked about my family that we have three Labradoodles that do go everywhere with us. They know if the motorhome and trailer are hooked up, we are going somewhere, and they want in immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are they bigger than my daughter has a Labradoodle and he could knock you over with his tail.
Possibly, yeah. Two of them are they're like 70 pounds. They're
Yeah.
all probably around 70 pounds. One of them's
Yeah.
a little bit taller, lanky, and skinny,
Hmm. Those
but
are
he could
great dogs, though.
They are. They truly are amazing. They don't shed. They're
Yeah.
great companions.
Yeah. They are. She has a Labradoodle and then she has a couple other smaller dogs, but yeah, that dog is when we go to Arizona to visit, my husband loves that dog, but I have a Shih Tzu, so he weighs 11 pounds and the same thing. If he sees me like put my shoes on or something, he's like jumping at me like, "Can I go? Can I go?" So,
Yes.
yeah, I get that part. And he loves going. He loves going in the car, so that's great. Yeah, for sure. So, so you and your husband race. Do you like race against each other? Are you competitive with each other? Or you
We
race in different classes?
we actually do race in the same class from time to time. Um, it's kind of funny because if there's anything two wheels, I really can't beat him. I did beat him once at flat track, but there was some contingent things. I had a set of brand new tires. He had kind of some old ones. He's also probably not going to hit me.
Yeah.
Whereas if it would have been a guy, he would have made room and probably got by. Um, I can't beat him in two wheels, but if we do go karts or anything four wheels, I can beat him. So maybe
Okay.
we should start racing four wheels.
There you go. He's probably not going to want to do that. So, this is more for fun. You don't really. it's probably not something that you're going for like a championship for or anything. This is just a fun thing, or do you have like a series that you run in?
We do have different series around here, and we have followed them in the past. Um, Man, it's funny because I've talked to many people about this before. There were days that we could race, this was way back. We could race Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. And those days are way long gone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
But the other thing in Ohio is we actually have quite a few series. So sometimes it's hard to maybe follow one if you want to go
yeah,
here or there.
yeah.
We did do one of ours this past year. I think we both placed. Um, we actually were. My husband was actually in first place in his classes, and with us being older, we don't really ride in the mud.
Oh yeah,
So we missed a couple races and it bumped him down to third, but I mean, it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But if there's something that we start following and then it looks like at the end of the year, hey, maybe we could be in contention, then we'll finish it. But
yeah, yeah. But it is kind of, I mean, there's two schools of thought when it comes to, racing a series. And most of the time it's bragging rights. It's not like you really get much of anything for
true.
being the
Yes.
champion. And so, at one point, then you decide it's more fun to travel around than it
Yes.
is for the trophy or whatever. So that's kind of,
Agreed 100%. That's kind of like you hit the nail on the head. You don't,
yeah,
and it's sometimes there used to be so many races. Like if you were the one that just showed up to them all, you were going to win.
yeah,
Kind of, you know. So it's still fun. The one we have is actually a lot less races, so it kind of makes it more fun because it is a little bit, it makes it a little bit closer or whatever.
yeah,
But um,
yeah,
yeah, it that's exactly it. If there was something we would rather go to in Michigan, then we're just gonna go in up
right.
there, and yeah,
Yeah. So do you ever come this way?
I do. We do.
Where do you
The
go?
I don't know how familiar are you with the motocross world. Have you ever heard of Red Bud?
Yeah, I've been
Okay,
there.
I mean, Red Bud is one of the most prestigious tracks in the country,
It
honestly.
is.
We have been there multiple times. Really cool track, really fun. They always have a
Yeah.
vet race in August.
Okay.
Um, and by vet, it's older people.
Okay.
So the classes are all 18 and up, and they will be packed for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a fun event. We've been to Log Road. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Mm-mm.
I think it's Milan, Michigan, maybe.
Yeah. I know where that is. That's not far from me.
Yeah, Dutch is it was close to Redbud, like an hour from Redbud. We've been
Okay.
there. There was a practice track called Martin. We've been to
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. That's real close to
Yes.
me. Half hour.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was pretty fun.
Okay. Yeah. Michigan has so many good tracks. We're so spoiled
Yes,
up here. We
there
really
are.
are. So, did you, when you started this, and you were doing motocross with your with your husband, did you decide you wanted to do this because it's something you and he could do together? You were doing it already when you met him. How does your story go where that's concerned?
We were both doing it racing when we met. As a matter of fact, we got married at the track as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he had the girls, they were the three of them raced, and then we met, whatever, and then got together. So then as we went, it was the four of us. But
Okay.
yeah, was kind of doing it on my own prior.
All right. Yeah. So it's something your family does, and still, it's stuck, and that's what happens with people in racing, is that
Yes.
it gets in our blood and it's hard to give it up.
Yeah, what is the saying? You can't put it in them and you can't take it out.
Right. Something like that. Yeah.
Yes, because
Yeah,
people
for
that don't
sure.
do it don't get it.
Yeah, no. So what's been your biggest challenge, like when you started racing, or anywhere along the line? What's been a challenge for you with motocross?
That's a good one. I mean, now for me, is obviously the age thing.
Hmm.
I mean, I truly feel a woman's maybe 10 years behind a man in like, physical, and it is a very physically demanding sport. So as you get
Yeah.
older, I do truly try to keep myself active. I try to work out regularly. Sometimes I'm good at that, sometimes I'm not. It does help, but I feel the physical aspect is probably one of the hardest things. I
Hmm.
always joke with my husband because I tell him, you can muscle things, we have to finesse it.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. And more so with motocross than maybe other racing types. If you
For
get in a
sure.
car, it's not as
Yes.
much of it's not as noticeable as it is when you're doing motocross
Agreed.
or hill climbing or all those kind of really,
Yep.
physical types of racing. So, um, so how much do you have to work on your bikes? Is it something that, you do that during the week all the time, or you just basically get the bike out and go and just tweak it a little?
Yeah, of course there's I mean there's maintenance every time you ride, change the air filters out, and oil changes. We try to keep up and do them every 3 hours on a bike, so that could translate to I mean maybe 3 days of riding would be an oil change then.
Okay.
Give or take on, where you go to ride or how much you're on the track.
Yeah.
But we do try to keep up with that. And then obviously tires and all that, chain and sprockets, they just kind of come with how much time you put on your bike to how
Right.
fast and often you're doing it.
Okay. Now, are there a lot of women that race motocross?
I'm gonna say that the women's side of it has grown drastically, probably in the last 5-ish years. It's honestly really cool to see. Um, there are some pretty fast ladies out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've went to some races, and I'm like, I think I just want to watch. Like, it's awesome to see it growing. I'm sure you're familiar with the Loretta Lynn stuff that we have in the United States. And just
Yeah.
to watch, even those are getting so full that the regionals are full and they're having to do as much as the guys do to be able to get themselves in one of those spots.
Yeah.
So it is really cool to see it growing. I think ladies in my age group are kind of maybe extinct.
Yeah.
There's a handful still out there, um, but it's definitely not not
Yeah.
like the younger ones coming up, but
Right.
maybe
Now,
going for.
when you go to like the track one of these rides, are there do they start like little kids are racing and adults,
Yes,
or and so
yes.
about what age do they start?
I think 4, 4, 5.
Yeah, that's little, isn't it?
It is, and I
Yeah.
do feel, and I've discussed this before. Like, they have you ever seen those little balance bikes that they have out? It
Yeah,
is.
I have.
I mean, those have made the progression of riding the dirt bikes like crazy. Some of the kids out there these days, they're fun to watch. I mean,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And I
it is
feel
cool.
stuff like that has helped their transition and getting better. And honestly, it probably helps them be safer on the bike as well
Yeah.
because they're learning proper technique. And I mean, there is sort of an art to it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool. As I talk to more and more people, the ages that these kids start,
Yeah,
4 years old, it's pretty amazing. But they've got somebody that's been involved in racing that's got them there. That's for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So, it's busy. You're driving a bus. You're not racing right now, but
No.
uh, it will overlap some in the spring and in the fall with your bus driving, and
Yes.
you have other things to do too. You have to cook and clean and do laundry and all that fun stuff. So how do you take care of Kelly? How do you make sure Kelly's getting the rest she needs, and it can't be all about work and that. What do you do to take care of yourself?
Ah. Ah. Well, I mean, I don't really like the cleaning part. So
Yeah,
if
I
it
don't
comes
either.
down to riding my dirt bike or cleaning, we can get the cleaning later.
Yeah, I'm with you there for sure.
Um, I, I probably would rather work on bikes than clean.
Okay.
So sometimes in that aspect, since it is just the two of us now, instead of the girl with the girls here, with they were here, they helped.
Yeah.
But with it being us, I try to help as much as possible because sometimes I feel like as we're getting older, the hardest thing about this sport is the preparation of getting stuff ready. The maintenance, you got to clean them, we got to clean gear, you get everything clean, get it all ready to go the next time.
Yeah.
Like we used to spend like every day through the week getting ready to go. We don't do that anymore. That's why we kind of pick and choose. We've definitely slowed down some to try to keep it more enjoyable because you can almost push yourself right out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for myself, I mean, that is my
That
that
is
is
your
my
kind of relaxation.
yeah, kind
Okay.
of.
Okay.
Kind of. Sometimes I feel maybe I push my husband a little bit more than he would push me to go. But we
Okay.
we try to keep a good balance. He is a little bit older than me, so I feel like he takes a little bit more beating sometimes, so his body
Yeah.
might hurt or whatever. So we can relate to something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So on race day, you get up, you go to the track. Do you have any superstitions or anything that you always do? Do you always wear the same shirt? Anything like that?
I'm gonna say I don't, but in the same turn, I do always put my right sock, my right knee brace, and my right boot on first.
Well, that's not a superstition maybe, but it's part of what you do every time. That's funny
Yeah.
because right-handed people tend to do that and left-handed
Okay.
people tend to do left. So
But I
I've
mean,
noticed that because I've had people tell me the same thing. Yeah,
okay.
that's interesting. So what's your favorite part about being part of the motocross family?
It's pretty cool just the group of people are pretty good. Everyone kind of takes care of each other. It's a really good community to be involved in. I feel like it is sort of a process of people starting in, and then there's like stages. When you first start in, you're trying to get any gear that you can that's cheap. And generally the people that are the older stages, they'll help those people out.
Okay.
I've been at a track and given a helmet away because someone's like, um, eh, I kind of like that aspect of, and then in turn, there's been people there to help us, or um, we actually have friends that are like in PA, so it's cool because you go to the track and you get to see them, whereas
Yeah.
daily, you don't really get to see them. So you go
No.
there, hang out. Do truly love the camping aspect of being at a track for the weekend. That's kind of
Mhm.
part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So have you had any like kickback or feedback because you're a woman out there racing motocross?
sometimes, I don't know any. Define what you mean by kickback.
Well, like they maybe they say something or on the track
Okay.
they try to run you off the track or
Well,
I mean
some
hopefully not, but it does happen.
sometimes the guys do not like if a ponytail passes them. I mean, at
Yeah,
all levels. It
that's
is
true.
yes. I have had some things happen at some races where I have had gentlemen, I've even had ladies come up to me and they said, "Hey, I think it's really cool that you're out there." Knowing what my age was, we've done some of those Loretta Lynn's qualifiers, and I've raced in like the plus 40 class, so they have an idea how old I am.
Right.
And no, I can't. Like I we do those for me. It's a fun thing. It's the atmosphere is amazing, and they have definitely given me compliments for being out there, and they thought it was pretty cool.
That's
Uh,
good.
to me, that feels pretty cool. I mean, yeah, of course I'm not the fastest one out there, but I like to be out there, so
Yeah.
I
And you
feel
know
that.
what? Success isn't necessarily about winning. Success is having fun, meeting people, building relationships, enjoying your off time or whatever you might want to call
Yeah,
it. And so when I ask people if they feel like they're successful, a lot of times they focus on wins, and that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm
yeah.
talking more about, do you feel like it's worth the time and money to do it? Do you ever regret doing it? And I really don't ever hear anybody say they do. they're
No,
all glad they
yeah,
did. Yeah.
definitely. It's been, I mean, just to think about the places that we've been, that we've traveled to, is cool in itself.
Right.
I've also kind of used relation of racing or even riding a motorcycle on the street, which we do that as well, to driving a school bus. When you're doing that, it is your number one thing is safety of the kids. And I do express to people riding dirt bikes is you learn one thing very fast. You know how fast something can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't take it for granted that, everything can be going fine. And then the next thing you're laying on your back saying, what the heck just happened?
Right.
So it really kind of makes you put a caution perspective in driving the bus, or, you know,
Yeah.
you know what it's like being on a street bike on the road. It's
Oh,
crazy out
yeah.
there.
It is crazy. And the people on their phones are the worst. That's what
Absolutely.
worries me the most. And I always tell my husband's been a biker for a long time, and he's 70, but he's a good driver and he pays attention, and I always say it's not you, it's them
Yep.
that I'm worried about for
A
sure.
100%.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite memory from your time? An event that happened, maybe somebody you met, somewhere you went, anything like that?
Oh, man. I think it's hard just to pinpoint one.
Yeah,
Because I
I'm
did this
sure
as
it
a
is.
child, which was really cool, with my family.
Yeah,
And doing it now, man. I remember you had that question in that thing, and I thought about that, and I
yeah.
still couldn't come up with just
Okay.
one.
That's good though. That's good. You have a lot of good memories, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great for sure. So, when you were little, you were racing, then you quit, and now you're racing again. What do you think
Yes.
has changed the most between the older days when you raced and now?
I mean, one huge thing I've noticed even now, even from when I started dirt bike, like in my 20s to now, the the development, the research and development on the bikes, how much they've changed. It is crazy, even looking back 20 years
Yeah, I bet.
to what you used to ride to now. Even safety equipment has come a
Sure.
long way. On the flat track side of things, they have the suits the airbag suits and stuff,
Uh-huh.
that are pretty cool. And I do watch a YouTube of a former pro who does a lot of stuff for Alpine Star, and they are actually going to come out with a air chest protector as well.
Okay. See,
Uh,
that's all things that who would have even thought of that in the
r-
past?
right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just every year they come out with something new and different
Hmm.
and hopefully better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to, because all the bikes just keep getting faster and faster.
So what kind of a bike do you ride?
I have a Kawasaki KX250.
Okay.
Well, that's
All
my
right.
motocross bike.
Okay. And then what's your flat track bike?
I have a Honda 450 on that one.
Okay.
And then on our track day stuff, I have Kawasaki GSXR 600.
Okay. All right. Wow. So three bikes. Your husband has how many bikes?
Well, I mean, I have a street bike too, a Harley.
Oh God.
um, he has, on motocross side, he actually has a 250 and a 450 Cowie.
Okay.
He has a Suzuki 450 for yes, for flat track, and he has a Suzuki 600 for the track stuff.
Okay. All
We
right. So
kind of have a few bikes.
you do. You have a few bikes. Well, if
A
that's what
few.
you're into though, you can't just
Yes.
have one for sure.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can't just have one.
we have an RM 125 that we take here or there for fun.
Okay.
Because they're not made by all the brands anymore, so
Yeah.
of course it's a
Yeah.
little bit older, but
Right. But sometimes those are the better ones. Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, are you on social media? Do you share about what you do on there? And if so, where and how can we follow you?
I am on social media. I have Facebook, which is just my name. I think it says Kelly Allen lots actually. We
Okay.
shared for a short time, but now he has his own, my husband, so I need to get his name off of there. I
Yeah.
haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Okay. You can
And
change
then
the name on it. Yeah.
I'm on Instagram. It's klots24. And then I recently did just start adding more to my YouTube channel. I had done one like a
Okay.
while ago, but I was trying to do a little bit more adventurous ones. I've posted them up on Facebook, but of course it's hard to add content now as much because of winter. But I did do a
Yeah.
little bit on the indoor track we go to.
Okay.
We did a downhill mountain bike day. I think I included that one. And yeah, but my YouTube is just my name, Kelly Lots.
Okay. All right.
So
So
definitely,
easy to follow you.
yes, it
Yeah.
should be.
Because people, after they listen to your story or like after I meet you, then I kind of like to try to keep up
Yeah.
with what you're doing. So I always tell you, if you tag me, if you tag Women's Motorsports Network, then I'll find you easier
Okay.
to
Okay.
follow what
Cool.
you're doing. So that's awesome. So Kelly, is there anything we haven't talked about that you would like to share?
Hmm. Man, I can't think of anything. I don't know. Like
Okay.
we keep busy with everything. When it's really, really hot, we do ride jet skis. We have stand-up jet skis.
Oh, that's nice. So you
Yeah.
must live near a lake.
We kind of do live near a few. Yeah, we could probably beat a couple within an hour
Yeah.
ish,
Yeah,
give or
that's
take.
always fun. Yeah, give it because on a bike, when it's really hot, it's
Yeah,
really hot.
it
And you got
is.
the engines heat and stuff. It's hot.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, awesome. Well, Kelly, I have really enjoyed talking to you today. I appreciate you taking time between your bus driving to do that. Um, I hope you have a good season this year, a fun season and a safe one, for sure. And
Yes.
I'll try to follow along. And anytime you have something that you want to share, all you have to do is reach out to me and tag, and we'll
Okay.
stay in touch.
That sounds awesome. I've enjoyed talking with you today, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, sure. Anytime. Thank you.
All right. You have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.